They raised a Super Bowl banner and the stadium sang, and then, 6 seconds into the game, everything that felt sacred turned messy and urgent. Jalen Carter's ejection before a single snap set the tone. This was not going to be a coronation. It was going to be a fight. Dallas attacked like a team that knew how to seize a gift. The 15-yard penalty handed to Philadelphia after Carter's removal gave the Cowboys better field position than anyone imagined, and they turned it into points. 2 short yardage TDs from Javonte Williams and a pair of field goals that made their first 4 possessions a small clinic in efficiency. For a few drives, they looked like a team missing a limb. The rush lanes were different, the pass rush quieter, and the crowd at Lincoln Financial Field tilted, suddenly uncertain. But this team has hairline resilience. You could see it in the way Jalen Hurts and the offense kept finding ugly ways to move the chains. Hurts ran when the line creaked, scrambled when the pocket closed, and barreled into the end zone twice. Not on the push plays you'd expect, but with instinct and a gambler's heart. A 51-yard strike to Jahan Dotson set up another finish that felt like the old Eagles. Opportunistic, physical, and stubbornly alive. Still, the game was bumpy. A.J. Brown, the numbers fry, one witty out who usually erases defenders with a single step, was a ghost for most of the night. Targeted rarely, involved even less. Saquon Barkley ran with heart, but not the dominance he flashed last year. His 60 rushing yards felt like a tease, not a statement. And the defense, missing its primary interior terror, bled a few early plays in ways that made coaches grind their teeth. Then, the weather did what big games sometimes do. It paused the clock and slowed the world. A lightning delay of more than an hour in the third quarter came right after a bizarre turnover sequence that should have woken the Eagles. It did wake them, eventually. The defense stiffened, the Cowboys stalled for stretches, and the momentum that had swung toward Dallas creaked back toward Philadelphia. The long pause, in a counterintuitive way, helped the champs regroup. What made the finish feel fragile were the moments CeeDee Lamb couldn't quite finish. In the final 3 minutes, a perfect heave from Dak Prescott that would have put Dallas inside the 20 slipped through Lamb's hands. Later, with a diving chance on 4th down, the ball landed just out of reach. Those 2 drops were the difference between an anxious Eagles barn burner and a Cowboys comeback that would have rewritten the night's script. Instead, the Eagles forced a turnover on downs, and the stadium exhaled. It's telling that a team freshly crowned nonetheless looked unpolished. This was not a repeat of last year's seamless run. This was a squad still finding its midseason self. The defense had to learn how to cope without Carter's interior command. The offense had to find Brown in ways the playbook hadn't fully solved yet. But the parts that mattered, a resilient offensive leader, a defense that could reset after a long break, and a locker room that refused to fold in the face of anxiety, held enough to win. Special teams added the night's punctuation. Scuffles, penalties, and a fumble that might have swung momentum before the delay. Those ugly plays will be homework for Monday coaches' meetings. Discipline, situational awareness, and finishing in the clutch will be the chorus this team sings until it stops sounding like a warning and starts sounding like a promise. So what should we take from this opener? First, winning ugly is still winning, and the Eagles proved it. They didn't need a flawless performance to hang another W on the ledger. They needed grit, and they found it. Second, the game exposed real vulnerabilities. Run defense rotation without Carter, an offense that can occasionally go invisible, and a reliance on a few high-leverage plays to close a game. Those are fixable, but they are the kind of frictions that can gnaw at a championship if not addressed. And finally, rivalry stays messy. Dallas showed it can score in waves even without Parsons. Philadelphia showed it can survive a self-inflicted wound and still walk off with the win. The Week 1 scoreboard reads 24-20, but the deeper headline is a reminder for fans and coaches and players alike that champions are not crowned by perfection. They're tested by noise, by delay, by mistakes, and by pressure. The Eagles were tested on opening night, and for all the ragged edges, they passed. When the confetti has long settled and the season stretches on, Week 1 will be remembered less for the banner than for the way the team responded. This was not a statement of dominance. It was a demonstration that even wounded, Philadelphia can still find a way. And in a league built on momentum and mettle, sometimes surviving the ugly nights is the first sign of a repeat. 6 seconds into the season, the Eagles' perfect opener turned into chaos. Jalen Carter was ejected before the first play, the game got lightning delayed, and the Cowboys nearly pulled off a last-minute comeback. By the final whistle, Philadelphia survived a 24-20 scare and lived to fight another week. This mattered because the Eagles opened as defending champions and lost a foundational piece instantly. Carter's ejection for spitting on Dak Prescott after Prescott spat toward the turf handed Dallas a 15-yard gift and set the tone for an ugly, emotional night. Momentum swung immediately. The Cowboys cashed in with an early drive that produced a touchdown, and Philly's normally dominant defense looked rattled without its interior anchor. On the field, both offenses came out hot. Dallas scored on 4 of its first possessions. Javonte Williams bulldozed in twice, and Brandon Aubrey knocked through 2 field goals to keep the Cowboys in striking distance. Philly answered with Jalen Hurts doing what he does best, extending plays and punching in 2 rushing TDs, while a late Hurts to Dotson bomb set up Saquon Barkley's short score before halftime. But the second half belonged to sheer tension. A lightning delay stopped play with the Eagles clinging to a 4-point lead, and when action resumed, the game tilted on a few razor-thin moments. The biggest drama came in the final 3 minutes. Dak Prescott threaded a gorgeous deep ball to CeeDee Lamb that should have put Dallas inside the 20, but Lamb dropped it. On 4th down moments later, another near-miracle throw went just out of reach. Those missed chances were Dallas' undoing. The Cowboys moved the ball but couldn't finish. The Eagles bent, didn't break, and held on. Key takeaways. 1. Discipline cost Philadelphia early. Losing Carter before a single defensive snap was devastating and underscored how quickly emotions can change a game's script. 2. The Cowboys showed they can move the ball without Micah Parsons, and Prescott carved up the Eagles when given space, a worrying sign for Philly if younger pass catchers start finding rhythm. 3. The Eagles' offense still has the juice. Hurts and Barkley produced timely plays, but the passing game, especially finding A.J. Brown, needs work. 4. Special teams and turnovers were pivotal. A late fumble and a big kickoff scuffle added to the chaos and flipped momentum multiple times. What this means going forward, Philadelphia won, but it wasn't convincing. The Eagles must tighten discipline, get Carter's presence back, or find interior answers, and get Brown involved more consistently. Dallas, despite the loss, proved it can threaten anyone, but drops and missed opportunities will cost them in tight games. Final thought, the Super Bowl champs survived their first stress test, but a 24-20 win after that much drama feels more like a warning than a statement. Which worries you more, the Eagles' lapses or the Cowboys' ability to hang with the champs? Drop your take in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This rivalry is just heating up.